What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, I am primarily a FIFA YouTuber, although I'm hoping to make that a thing of the past by introducing more of this type of thing. So in the middle of me talking to you here, you're going to see me dip in and out of my my exercise, I guess. Basically, I ran a mile every day for 14 days. Now, I've actually run more than that, and I intended to do it for 30 days, but I didn't want to wait another 2 weeks to do the video, so maybe we'll do a little check-in in 14 days to see where we are at the end. Okay, so now unfortunately I didn't actually plan on doing the sort of YouTube videos around this before I started, so I didn't really track weight correctly at the beginning, and it's difficult to track time when you're on a treadmill as well. The reason I don't run outside is because around maybe 18 months ago I was doing I was on like a health kick again, and I was using an app called Freeletics, which I'd used in the past, and it helped me an awful lot to lose a lot of weight maybe 5 years ago. And again, I just plateaued from there. Did it for maybe 6 weeks, lost a load of weight, got happy with where I was, thought, right, well, I'll keep going, and then something cropped up, and then I missed a day, and then that turned into 2 and 3, and so on until maybe 18 months ago, where I thought, right, now's the time, let's go again. And I did maybe a week or two of freeletics and some running, went out for a run one day, finished my distance, but because I come from a sprinting background, I used to run like 100, 200 and 400 meters at like Welsh Championship level, which maybe sounds impressive, but it's not that impressive. My times were okay, and I've talked about that in previous videos, but I come from a sprinting background primarily. I don't really do distance. Anything over 400 for me is a distance, right? So because I come from that distance, at the end of the run that I did on that day 18 months ago, I thought, I'm going to end with a sprint, because if you're a sprinter or you know a sprinter, you'll know that when they run, they want to run as fast as they can until they can't anymore, have a bit of a break and do it again, because that's just what we are. And I did, and I just opened up and I ran fast as I could. And unfortunately, the patch of grass or the strip of grass that I was running on had a hole or a dip in it. It wasn't a hole, but it was like uneven ground, if you will. So you're running with your technique going, and all of a sudden you dip. Even the smallest, it's like when a football player is running and he gets clipped and he goes down and you think he's dived. It's not. It's because he's running at such pace and he gets clipped. It's enough to throw his weight off, his balance off, and he goes down. Sometimes they dive, sure, but you know what I mean. When you're running and you are running on a relatively flat surface, you can judge where it is, and you know you're on your toes. And then unfortunately, when the ground isn't quite there and the way you think it's going to be, and then you reach for it, and then you jar, and then pop. And that's exactly what happened. I had a pop in my hamstring. I knew instantly what it was, because I'd done it plenty of times before, and it was a bad one. I didn't go get it checked out or anything like that, because I knew what I needed to do. I iced it, and I treated it as if I was still like back 15 years ago as a sprinter, and it took ages to heal. It took nearly 2 months to get back to the point where I felt like maybe I could go for a run and not actually damage myself, but by that point I'd given up. So unfortunately, that brings us to where we are today. Now, when it comes to doing this challenge, like I said, I didn't intend on doing it for a video. I wanted to do it because it's something I wanted to do. I've recently turned 33 on the 8th of July. Not that that was a reason for it, but just to give you some indication as to how long it's been since my sprinting days. As you can see, I'm using the Nike running app to track the run. The times may be accurate, they may not be. They may be either side. I may have run that first mile in 13 minutes. I may have run it in 9 minutes. I may have run it in 11 and a half. I just don't know. So that was the first day. The second day, I had a lot of problems with videos that I was making, and unfortunately I just didn't have time to do the run. With that, then I went on a bit of a run, and I went on a consistent run at that, right? So as you can see, every day I'm posting times. They're not great times. They are getting a little bit quicker here or there, and as we move on to the next screenshot, you'll see that they get quicker and quicker and quicker. And it's mainly because I'm upping the speed on the treadmill, but I'm also not widening my stride, because it's at that point where if I widen my stride too much, it just feels like an unnatural run, because I feel like I'm bounding almost, right? Because the speed of the treadmill isn't quite enough for me to open up my stride properly. If I take shorter strides, you see what happens there. The times get quicker because it thinks I'm moving a lot more. day 11 of running a mile a day, and I don't feel too good today. I mean, I don't like feel bad or anything, but I've got a slight tightness, I think, in my left quad. So I have to try and, I'm not going to roll it out. I don't have like a foam roller or anything like that, but I will have to try and like walk it out a little bit. And if I don't feel it, then it's going to be a very slow mile, but I'm still going to do it, obviously. Just finished mile, I think number 11. Yeah, it's got to be number 11. I think that's the one I was on. The time on the Nike running app says 8:58, which, I mean, that's much slower than the last 3 days. And I know why, and I may already have mentioned it in the video. I probably have done. At the end of this, I'll break it all down. But the problem with running on a treadmill is that it just doesn't track properly. You know, if you move your arms quicker, thinks you've gone faster, you could literally be stood there doing that. The watch is a little bit more accurate because it seems to count your actual step, but at the same time, if you have a short stride, you're taking more steps. It doesn't mean you've traveled a greater distance. If you've got a larger stride, you take less steps, it's going to count less steps. You see what I mean? And my treadmill is so old that it's just inaccurate. I've probably explained this before, but either way, 8:58 for that mile. I felt quite good doing it. I mean, I did quite poor either side, and that wasn't due to fatigue necessarily. It was just down to I didn't want to push it even more than that. And it wasn't, I mean, I've got a few sort of tight muscles here or there. It's probably due to the fact that it hasn't been a rest day for a little while, and logically I should take a rest day. But so long as I don't push myself to like running the fastest miles and the fastest distance, you know, I tend to run about 2.5 miles a day. Sometimes I'll run a little bit more, but generally it's around 2.3, 2.5, somewhere between there, depending on how much time I have left over. And you know, I don't push myself during it. The mile I'll run it a bit quicker because I obviously want to post a fairly respectable time. But yeah, I feel okay. That wasn't too bad. Hopefully it'll get easier as I go on though. I'm really hoping and looking forward to seeing what I'll be like at the end of day 14 and what I'll be like at the end of the month as well, given the fact that everything I've done so far, I mean, if you'd looked at me after the first day, and I wish I'd recorded it, I was like, I'm red now and I am sweaty, but I was proper red. Like I would have had to sit down for a good 20 minutes after just to sort of get my heart rate right back down again, because I hadn't done anything sort of exercise wise for months. So I'm in much better condition now than I was 10 days ago. Don't know much of this you're going to be able to hear because the treadmill is quite loud, but I am just coming to the end of the warm-up and we're ready to go for the mile. So what I thought I'd do is try, even though it's going to be difficult to run with this in my hand, but I'm going to try and record it as I'm running it, and you'll see just my legs going back and forth basically. Really boring stuff when you run on a treadmill, but you know, for the time being, that's what we're going to do. There will be other challenges where we go outside. Feel free to put them in the comments, but right now we're about to crank it up and we're about to run, hopefully, a quick mile.
12 seconds later.
At this pace, so that I've worked it out, I would be running just over a 7-minute mile, which I can sustain, it's not a problem. However, given the warm-up that I've done, it probably wouldn't be wise to keep going at this pace because I'm not too far into it, and I am starting to lose a little bit of energy, and I've still got another maybe 20 minutes to go after I run this mile. So I think this is probably going to be the goal for maybe the end of the whole challenge, is to run this pace for the entire mile. So all in all, I would say that the experience so far it's helped me a lot, to be fair, because obviously before I started doing it, I wasn't in very good shape, and of course now I'm not like a transformed person, and this isn't going to allow me to now go run a marathon. I'm still running rather slow miles, and I'm not really doing an awful lot more other than, you know, I tend to get generally in around 10,000 steps, but that's including the 30 minutes worth of treadmill exercise that I do, which obviously includes the mile as well. So I'm by far no means active, you know, I mean, more active than just sat down on my backside all day, but I am not really doing an awful lot more than what I've shown you. 30 minutes worth of exercise a day, and the rest of it is spent, most of it at least, is spent behind a desk. So I don't walk an awful lot, there's no commute to work or anything like that. So even though I'm doing that very small amount, 30 minutes of walking / running and then a mile, as not as quickly as I can, but a decent pace in the middle, even that has just tenfold increased my, I wouldn't say confidence, maybe that's the wrong word, although I do feel a little bit more like I'm capable, you know, like I just chased my cat around the garden to get her back in. And normally after doing that, I'd come in and I'd be, whew, you know, but now I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It was nothing. It was like walking up the stairs, and I was proper, you know, chasing around the garden. So this experience so far, only after 14 days, has made me feel a lot better about myself. I feel like, you know, if now I had to go, you know, I've done my mile today, I've done my 30 minutes, even if now I had to go on the treadmill and do it, I feel quite good. I feel capable of going on there. And the diet we touched upon a little bit. I have recorded some stuff to do with the diet. I don't know if I've shown you that in the video, probably not. We'll leave that for another time. I've probably mentioned it though, and my diet is an ongoing process. I'm still working toward tweaking it a little bit. I need to get a couple more things in there. I'm not really taking on enough calories. I'm not like dizzy or fainting or anything like that. I'm fine, but I know I should be eating a little bit more. So I know all about that, and I know I'm aware of it. I just want to focus on maybe gradually building it up and, you know, introducing some other things. But so far, after 14 days of the mile a day challenge and the others, then I mean, I feel quite good. I'm glad I've started doing it. I'm not saying that you should all start doing it, but if you do, I can guarantee you'll feel better about yourself. You will lose a little bit of weight as well. Just 30 minutes of exercise is unbelievable. It goes so fast and it does such a lot for you. You know, you don't have to do this to get like ripped or toned or anything, because running isn't really going to do that for you. But so far so good for me. Another 14 days to go at least. I'm going to do some other things as well. I'm going to try and ramp up the videos on running on the channel a little bit more as well. So if you do have any suggestions for challenges, feel free to post them in the comments. If you have enjoyed this and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for new, and until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index, the game changed. Download the app now.